Good morning, guys. It's Johnny Valentine with Gain Solar, and I'm going to try this live stream thing again for you. Yesterday or last night I did a live stream, but it was my first one, and I think it got a little bit crazy. Wasn't as structured as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to try to keep this one shorter and jump right into it. So this live stream is about something that I'm kind of excited about. I want to just kind of call all the other solar installers out here and tell you there's a petition going on to the NEC code. It's a petition against module level shutdown. And to me, I think that's something worth looking into. I'm going to include links in the description of this video to these articles. But I'm going to definitely, when I get off of here, I'm going to contact this guy at Paragon Solar, and I'm going to see if I can't get in on his petition, because I definitely want to sign this. So for you guys that are DIYers, you may not be following this as much, but if you're an installer, you know about the codes and how we've been forced in the recent, gosh, I think it started in 2012, but I could be wrong. But rapid shutdown is basically you got to have something under every module. So I'm going to show you this quick video real quick, just kind of explaining the problem. And this is an SMA video, but I don't think I'll get in trouble for showing it.
And it does it with industry-leading SunSpec certified rapid shutdown technology.
I guess I got to reload it to replay it. Just hold on. Just bear with me, folks. I thought I had this. So SMA Shadefix. I think this video really shows it. Shows what we're dealing with. But SMA is, I think what SMA is doing is they're in a marketing campaign battling against rapid shutdown. But rapid shutdown is where, it basically forces you to put something underneath the panel. And those of you that are watching this video that watched me talk about it last night, I'm just trying to be more concise here, so I deleted the one from last night.
This is Peter. He's happy to use his own solar plant to supply his home with electricity. But his favorite cherry tree in his garden makes him wonder, what about the shade on his solar plant when the tree grows? Will his solar plant produce energy even when there is shade? Of course it will, thanks to his SMA solar inverter. All SMA inverters...
This ain't the video. Alright, well anyway, SMA Shadefix is the videos that you want to watch. These videos, this is it.
Deciding to go solar isn't just a great decision, it's a valuable investment. And like any investment, the goal should be to minimize risk and maximize return. That's where traditional optimizers fall short. They're placed under PV panels in a harsh rooftop environment where they operate constantly.
So there it is. They're showing you this idea that optimizers and microinverters make heat under the panels, which is what I think is going to turn out to be a huge problem within the industry later on, when guys like me that are still going to be around are going to have to go around and service everything. All these big high volume companies are out of business because they couldn't function with their warranties.
Generate heat while consuming power. It's like driving a gas-guzzling four-wheel drive vehicle around in bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's simply inefficient. And this inefficiency introduces unnecessary wear and tear into the PV system, which can complicate service and reduce energy production. In other words, it can be a risky investment. But what if I told you there's a better way to optimize?
All right, now they go into the Shadefix thing and they start talking about their product. But basically, if you go on to the link I'm going to show you, this is about a solar installer who is petitioning that the rapid shutdown stuff gets reverted back to the 2014. So his petition is that NEC 690.2 module level shutdown goes back to NEC 2014 690.12, which was array level shutdown, where you don't have to cut off all the panels, each panel. You just cut off the array, and he wants to do that with the 1 foot rule, which was in NEC 2014 690. The reason he's wanting to do this is because he's saying that when he goes around and services systems, he is seeing connector fires, which brings me to my next little point here. He's talking about, he says out of every 100 calls he gets, he'll come across 4 or 5 burned out connectors. So that's 5% burned out connectors in one area. And that seems to be the highest fail rate on these systems. So then this is when we get into talking about something called, service risk, okay? When you're an installer, everything you do on the roof, if you have any kind of warranty with it, you're kind of on the hook for it. So that's your service risk. And that's really why I don't like module level power electronics, in-phase, solar edge, anything with a microinverter or something behind the panel, even rapid shutdown modules. I don't like it because of the service risk. You have all these extra connections that you're putting in, and if you're a homeowner and you're doing your own install, then you've still got risk because you're the one who did it. But basically, the problem here is that on these connectors, because there's a module, there's something behind every module. The rapid shut or the systems are not required to have arc fault. So it says a portion of the code that directly related to this states that a single module on a device such as an optimizer or a microinverter is not required to monitor the quality of the connector. More specifically, if it's under 80 volts DC, arc fault protection is not required, despite the fact that 40 volts DC and lower can cause the arc. So what's going on? These connectors are arcing, probably because of mismade connectors, and he's finding them all burned up because the rapid shutdown stuff doesn't account for that. Now I'm taking you to my next thing. So anyway, this is the petition. This is linked. I think you guys should totally go and look at this and sign it if you feel like rapid shutdown is a load of garbage like I do. So now I'm taking you over to a couple of newspaper articles. This is an article from 2016, this is from 2019 when there was all those Tesla fires. You guys remember those fires where Tesla systems were catching on fire on Walmart? They never really told anybody what was going on. But this little article kind of hints at what's going on. It's talking about Amphenol, which is a connector maker, and what they think the problem was. And then it goes down, they're saying that their connectors are great, which I think their connectors are fine. The problem is when the connectors get mismatched. When you plug an Amphenol H4 connector into an MC4 connector, they feel like they made up, but they don't. Tesla, it says Walmart's complaint didn't mention Amphenol by name, but it said that Tesla had negligently installed and maintained connectors, and some had been cross-matched. So I think this is what happened. I think they were cross-matched, because I remember when I first read this, how are the solar city systems catching on fire if they're all a bunch of microinverters? That's supposed to be the super safe thing. Or if they weren't microinverters, maybe they were, I think they were actually solar edge. Then you start thinking about what happens with a cross-match connector. That's when, and so it says Amphenol's name and the H4 connectors were brought into the mix. Tesla said they found a few problems with equipment used by Solar City, the panel installing company that Tesla bought. So Tesla bought Solar City, so Solar City actually did these installs. It says, so anyway, I think this is what was going on. I think there was connector mismatch, and then this is the next article I take you to. This is from PV Magazine, and this is in about the same time that the Tesla fires were going on. And, I'm not going to sit here and read these articles to you, but I'll just read you little snippets. It says Tesla was actually running an internal program to replace these connectors, which were identified as H4 connectors, which they'll plug right into an MC4, but they're not right. So even though they do it, they don't quite work. So then it starts talking about compatibility, and Staubli, the maker of MC4, is saying no, it does not work. So the different kinds of connectors. This is the PV module failures. Now, I just want to be clear. I was talking to a customer yesterday, and I very rarely see any kind of module failures, any kind of connector failures, anything like that. But I don't do this either. So, and I don't use a lot of that stuff. So then this next part I want to take you to. So you can read this and talk about it, but basically, anybody that says it's MC4 compatible on their spec sheet is a lie. So this is an interesting thing to read. And the last thing I want to take you to is the SMA Shadefix white paper, which you have to download, and I'll show you the link. But the SMA Shadefix white paper is very interesting. It starts talking about Lucer's law, and it's the concept that in systems engineering, it's a predictor of reliability. It states that the reliability of a series of components is equal to the product of the individual reliabilities of the components. So this is basically, the more components you have, the more complexity you have, the more chance you have of something breaking. There's an example right there. And I think this is reduced complexity. Reducing the complexity and the number of components in a system will reduce the overall failure rate. Okay, that's an interesting thing. I've never heard that. But this is SMA's Shadefix document, white paper, fighting against rapid shutdown and all these connectors. It's not that we don't like rapid shutdown, it's that we don't like all the module level electronics and all the extra parts. So guys, if you're a solar installer and you've been affected by this, I know I have. I'm just about won't do a roof job anymore unless it's really easy to get up and deal with. I encourage you to go on to contact this guy, Scott Carmen of Paragon Solar in Colorado, and sign this petition. I think if enough people sign this petition, maybe the NEC will actually listen to us, realize they have a problem. So this is Johnny Valentine with Gain Solar signing off. I hope you enjoy this video, and please like and subscribe.